Don't get images off of Google and put them on your website. I just this week received an email from a law firm stating that it was copyright infringement and I had to pay a fine. Best ever listeners, before we get into today's episode, I want to mention Trevor McGregor. Trevor is a real estate results coach. I've been paying him and working with him for years now. He actually is responsible for giving me the idea to do a podcast. So it's not only about transactions that he gives advice on how to find more deals, how to make more money, but also how to build a holistic plan around your real estate entrepreneurship endeavors. That's what I love about working with Trevor, that and being held accountable for what I say I'm going to do and actually making sure that I follow through and do it. I feel like I'm a pretty results-oriented, accountable kind of person, but it's always nice to have someone who's there guiding you along the way and giving you strategy as well as psychology tips for how to deal with, the things that come up as a real estate entrepreneur. Trevor has made a wonderful offer for the best ever listeners, and that is that he's offering a free coaching session. Go to coachwithtrevor.com. That's coachwithtrevor.com. Highly recommend him. I've worked with him before. I'm currently working with him right now as my business, as my real estate investing coach. Highly recommend you do the same. Take him up on his offer. Get a free coaching session. coachwithtrevor.com. Best ever listeners, hello. How you doing? Welcome to the Best Real Estate Investing Advice Ever show. I'm Joe Fairless, and today's Friday. Happy Friday. Hope you've had a wonderful week. And today, because it's Friday, we're going to do Follow Along Friday, and it's the first of the month. What I do at the first of every month is in my notepad, I write down all my goals for that month, and that helps direct me to how I structure my days and how I spend my time. So what I thought would be interesting would be to talk about the different goals that I have, and then this time next month, at the first of the month, I will share on if I accomplished them, and if not, then what was my progress. So I've made a note in my calendar for early April to give you a status update on how I did on these goals. So here we go. Here are the goals, and the reason why I'm sharing them with you, as always, is to give you a insight into what my goals are and what my life is like as an entrepreneur, where my areas of focus are. So from a high level, and I'm about to get into the goals, but I think there's some context that's needed. From a high level, I make the majority of my money by buying apartment communities with investors and sharing in the profits. So finding apartment communities that need value add component, and then investing my own money, as well as bringing in investors to invest their money. We buy it together. Then I and my team oversee the asset management of it. Then we all share in the profits of the apartment community. So that's from a high level how I make my money. And then there's two other ways that I make money. One is through podcast sponsors. So you know exactly what that is because you hear them even on this episode. They're responsible for the podcast being in existence because it costs money. It costs between $2,500 and $3,000 a month just to produce this darn thing. So I need to have sponsors on the show, and in some months I make money, other months I break even, and other months I lose money because the sponsors don't cover the total cost of what it is to produce the show. But as the podcast grows more and more, I think there will be less losing money months and more making money months. But it's not a big money maker for me, is my point. And then the third way is I have clients who I teach how to invest in apartment communities and raise money from investors and do what I do. And so that's the third way, and that ties into my larger business of buying apartments with investors sharing in the profits, because I see a whole lot of deals and I help my clients close on deals that perhaps they wouldn't be able to close on if they didn't involve me and I didn't help bring in investors or whatever they need. So those are the ways. And I think that's important to mention on this episode. One, just so you know how I make money and how I'm able to, support myself and make things happen. But two, because I'm about to go into the goals that I have for March, and then they tie into how I make money and my overall approach. So here we go. Number one is get my 168 unit apartment community that I have in Cincinnati under contract. If you have been following this, then you'll know that it has been quite some time, specifically, I can't get too specific because I don't know exactly how many days, but I'd say since November, December, March, April, May, November, December, January, February, March. Wow, I'm really good at my months, aren't I? It's been about 5 months since the LOI was agreed upon, and we've been working through the contract. This darn thing is taking a long time, and it's because it's a master lease with an option to purchase that I have it under. And if you're not familiar with master leases, then really quickly, it is a controlling interest in the property, not outright buying it, but rather it can also be considered an installment sale depending on how it's classified. So the amount of time that it takes to get the contract right should not be the amount of time it's taken so far, but there's a combination of many factors. I won't go into all of them, but one of them is that we have 3 different sets of attorneys who are in on this transaction. The contract needs to read properly. And so it's been quite a long time. However, I think that we've all agreed on all the points, and I think that it should be under contract this month. I would be shocked if it's not under contract this month. And then, with a closing date probably in the next 60 to 90 days. So that's my number one goal. Number 2 is to close on the 155 units that we have under contract, and we're scheduled to close towards the end of March. And once we close on that, that will be our second apartment community. When I say we, it's my business partner and I. Our second apartment community, one of them, the one we have already, is a 250 unit in Houston. And then this one is 155 units, about 15 minutes away from the other one. Same management team on the ground, very similar business model. We're putting in $5,000 a unit, going to increase rents about $50 to $70 depending on the unit, and make a good return on the money. And then after 2 years, going to do a refinance. And at that point, we'll have an increased valuation because of all the improvements that we've done, and we're projected to return a large portion of the investors' money back, and then they'll stay in as owners with us and make a good return because they'll have less of their money into the deal, and then we're projecting to sell in 5 years. So that is where we're at with it right now, is just giving the lender all the documents that they need and just tying up some loose ends. But I'm anticipating that to be done by the end of this month. Number 3 is speaking of earlier, I was talking about sponsors. I'm in conversations with a couple different potential sponsors for the podcast, and I am expecting to solidify something with one of them this month, and then you'll be hearing their ads on the show in about a month or two, depending on when they get started. Number 4 is to work with one new client. So I have about 20 clients right now, and I'm incredibly selective with the clients I work with. So literally, I'm only bringing on one client this month, and I met with somebody in person. Usually it's over the phone, but this individual happens to live in Columbus, and he was in Cincinnati, so we met up, and I'm anticipating us to be working together, and if not, then there's a couple of more individuals who I'm speaking to. So the fourth is to bring on one new client for this month, and the reason I only do one is because it's unlimited amount of my time, so I only have so much to kind of focus on that. Number 5 is to have at least 130,000 downloads for this podcast in the month of March. Let's see, in the month of February, we got 104,351 downloads. So we're going to go for 130 in March, and I'm just writing that down to make sure that I document that. Number 5, the fifth goal is to finish Millionaire Real Estate Agent by Gary Keller, J. Papasan. Boy, I'm in like chapter 5 of that book. I'm not a real estate agent. I don't plan on being a real estate agent. I love this book. This book has insights on how to be a successful real estate investor. It has insights on how to build a business regardless if it's real estate or not. This is a must-read book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. My roommate, when I lived in New York, my roommate Pedro was reading it, and he told me, he's like, boy, I can't do his accent, I won't try. He's from Cuba. He's like, boy, this is a great book. Even if you're not a real estate agent, that's so darn true. If you are a real estate agent and you haven't read it, why not? You need to. If you aren't an agent and you're an investor or even an entrepreneur, highly recommend The Millionaire Real Estate Agent by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Number 7, I got a new website coming out, and it's going to allow you to gain access to the show a lot easier, and you'll be able to see the episodes better. We're going to have little content packages for you. I've done all these special series with different companies and people, like, for example, the best flipping series ever with Patch of Land, or the best crowdfunding crash course ever. And there's no one central place for those episodes. I just mentioned in the podcast, hey, listen to this episode, and if you want to get caught up on the previous episodes within the series, go to this episode. Well, it's tough to follow that, and I understand that. So on the new website, there's going to be just a little box that you can click, and you'll be able to listen to all the episodes within these content packages. Really excited about that website, as well as many other things. I'm actually doing a photo shoot next week. It's been postponed 2 weeks because the darn weather in Cincinnati isn't cooperating. But next week, I have a photo shoot in Fountain Square in Cincinnati. Gonna take some pictures, or have someone take pictures of me for the website, and then get that inserted. And hopefully in April, we'll be ready to hit the go live button. The next item, which I believe is number 8, number 8 is the book. I don't know if I told you. I think I've mentioned it once or twice, but we haven't talked about it in depth. For the first 100 episodes, we are creating a book, and it's going to have insights and a summary and a recap of the first 100 episodes. And it's going to be called The Best Real Estate Investing Advice Ever, Volume 1. And it's going to be first 100 episodes, probably like 20, 25 different pieces of advice from interviews that we've done. And all the profits from the sales of this book are going directly to charity. The charity of choice for this one is Junior Achievement here in Cincinnati. Helps underserved kids learn entrepreneurial skills. It's a charity that I'm on the board for in Cincinnati, near and dear to my heart. I volunteer for them. I love the organization, and you're going to love this book. I don't know what I'm going to price it at, but it's going to be worth however much it costs. And again, all the profits from the sales of the book are going to charity. More to come on that. We're in the stage of finishing the book right now, and we're anticipating it to be published in April. So by this time next month, we'll have a lot to update you on. And then lastly, I'm going to run or walk 100 miles in March. 100 miles. There's a friend of mine. He's actually also an investor. He recently told me that he does, I think, and I know you're listening, JJ, so I hope I'm remembering this correctly. I think it's 5 miles a day, and he's been doing this for years. Rain, sleet, snow, whatever. He gets out there and he does 5 miles, either runs or walks 5 miles every single day. There's no reason for me not to do that. I've been working on the pumping the iron, getting the muscles going, but I haven't been doing the cardio, so going to be focusing on that 100 miles this month. So all of these things I mentioned to you because you might be curious about what my goals are. Where is the vision for my company? Where is my focus? Well, these are the goals for the month, and this is my focus. Lastly, and this is such an aside, but I'll just mention it, don't get images off of Google and put them on your website. I did that when I first started, and I just this week received an email from a law firm stating that it was copyright infringement, and I had to pay a fine of $1,000. So don't do what I did. Don't make that mistake. If you're pulling images from Google, I should have known better. It's my fault. They deserve to be compensated for the pictures that they have rights to. That's my thought. So I messed up. Don't mess up because it's a costly mistake. It's no fun to receive an email titled unauthorized use of blank blanks, pictures, imagery, case number, blah, blah, blah. It's not good. So there's your tip for the day on copyright infringement. Don't do it. Learn from me. Other than that, if you are not receiving the emails every week recapping this podcast and the the insights that we've learned from the podcast, well, why the heck not? You need to receive them. It's going to be beneficial for you because I know I'm throwing a lot of podcast episodes at you every week, and there's a lot of good information. You're a busy person, so this is a great way to stay in touch and get it to your inbox. And the text, all you do is you text this number 38470, text the word BEST, B-E-S-T. So again, text the word BEST, B-E-S-T to 38470. That's 38470, text the word BEST. You'll get a auto response back. It'll ask you to put in your email address. You'll do that. You're then signed up for the weekly newsletter. Plus, you'll receive a apartment resources guide for the top 30 resources that I have whenever I look at apartment buildings. That will be beneficial for you as well. Hope you're having a best ever day. Hope you have an even best ever weekend, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Do you want to learn more about turnkey property investment? Then I would go check out ohiocashflow.com. The founder, Angelo Remora, has been on the show multiple times, both for Situation Saturday as well as sharing his advice. You can check out his advice, episode 52, and you can check out his Situation Saturday, where he talks about some mistakes he made in episode 410. This guy calls himself the real estate dingo. I mean, he's very entertaining. Go to ohiocashflow.com, and you're able to get a turnkey property investment ebook for free by going to ohiocashflow.com.